happened here? It's just amazing how many people on the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala, too.
Yeah, seriously, it's like insane.
Publicly, openly.
Joe Rogan has reportedly sparked major controversy after raising unsettling points about Sean Diddy Combs' case, and the fallout is rippling across the entertainment world. What initially looked like a discussion focused on Diddy's legal situation quickly shifted into something much darker, a conversation about power, protection, and influence at the very top. On his podcast, Rogan appeared to suggest that this story may be far bigger than one celebrity facing charges. By even hinting at it publicly, he may have taken a serious risk. As investigators continue to peel back the layers surrounding Diddy, new questions are emerging about who truly hold power behind the scenes and who benefit from staying out of the spotlight. The discussion implied that certain individuals and circles seem to operate above accountability, shielded by a system designed to protect them. While Diddy remains in custody awaiting trial, many assume the saga ends there. Rogan's comments challenge that assumption, pointing instead to a much wider network that stretches well beyond a single name. According to what was explored on the show, these connections may reach into elite spaces within entertainment, politics, and business, areas most people never suspect are linked. The influence runs deep, and if Rogan's interpretation is accurate, Diddy's case could be just one thread in a much larger structure now beginning to come apart. Unsurprisingly, the conversation sent shockwaves across social media. By voicing what others only discuss in private, Rogan may have drawn the attention of extremely powerful figures. And if even part of what he hinted at is true, the implications could be enormous, potentially exposing a shared web of influence that connects some of the most powerful names in the world.
Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get
think he's
hit up.
insane, though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters. I mean, it's a lot of it is.
But then it's just another Epstein.
There's
it's
murder
another
cases.
Ghislaine Maxwell, where
there's
somebody
murder
gets indicted and
cases.
nobody else. Indicted for trafficking kids to
Right,
no
to
one.
to no one. Right. We're like, what is the next crazy thing that's going to explode in the news? Is Bill Clinton's going to have an OnlyFans? Like, what is going to happen? What is the next thing that's going to make us all go, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's coming. You know, it's
How many guys were on video saying, ain't no party like a Diddy party? How many people like openly talked about being there?
LeBron?
Yeah, how Ashton Kutcher, all these people. Like, you guys all went, you didn't see nothing?
Before we can even talk about who might really be calling the shot behind all of this, it's important to understand what Sean Diddy Combs is actually accused of. Without that foundation, nothing else fits together. At this moment, Diddy remains behind bars after facing serious federal charges that sent shockwaves through the music and entertainment world. According to prosecutors, he allegedly leveraged his celebrity status, wealth, and influence to manipulate and take advantage of people who believed they could trust him. Even more disturbing are claims about private, invite-only gatherings described by insiders, events that appeared glamorous on the surface but were allegedly far more sinister behind the scenes. There are accusations that guests were drugged and secretly recorded without their consent, turning what looked like exclusive parties into tools of control. Imagine walking into a high-profile event, thinking it's just another elite celebration, only to later discover that the night may have been used to gain leverage over you. That's a fear at the center of these allegations. Reports suggest that more than 120 individuals have since stepped forward with claims, outlining a deeply troubling pattern, with some early accounts even raising concerns about underage victims. As of now, investigators are still separating fact from rumor, and no final verdict has been reached. Still, the controversy intensified when 50 Cent's Netflix documentary The Reckoning premiered, offering an unfiltered look at the accusations and reigniting public outrage. Yet there's a critical detail many people may be overlooking. The real question might not be whether Diddy was involved, but whether he was truly the one at the very top of the power structure.
I never thought these words would come out my mouth, but Candace Owens is onto something, and that did not feel comfortable at all. So Candace says the reason mainstream news is not picking up this lawsuit, is not paying attention to Diddy at all, is because of this man right here, Lucian Grandage. He is one of the most powerful men in Hollywood and music. And he been up in Diddy's room. So this man right here is Sir Lucian Charles Grandage. He's been the CEO of Universal Music Group since 2010, so you know he done seen some shit. So I had to go to the damn documents. I had to see if this man was actually named. And he is. As you can see, it says Lucian Charles Greenwich. And it also says Universal Music Group. On top of that, it says Ethiopia. I cannot fuck up her last name. I refuse to. But she was also a big person in Universal Music Group. And then Christina Coramham. Lord forgive. But she was like Diddy's second hand.
According to the lawsuit, Sir Lucian Charles Grange wasn't merely aware of Diddy's infamous parties. He allegedly played an active role in them. The documents claim he sponsored several events and attended multiple gatherings at Diddy's Los Angeles mansion. The allegations are staggering. These parties reportedly featured explicit entertainers, and some reports even mention underage attendees. The claims have sent shockwaves through both the music and entertainment worlds. The lawsuit further contends that Grange either knew, or should have known, what was happening behind closed doors. It even alleges that some guests were unknowingly drugged with drinks laced with Diddy's own liquor brands, De Leon tequila and Ciroc vodka, a revelation that left many people in disbelief. The notion that events so high-profile could carry such dark undertones reads like something out of a true crime series. Commentator Candace Owens has publicly highlighted the silence of major news outlets on the matter, suggesting Grange's immense clout in the entertainment industry could be a factor. As CEO of Universal Music Group, his influence stretches across both music and media, giving him significant control over which stories gain traction and which quietly disappear. The lawsuit doesn't stop with Grange. It also names executives Ethiopia Habamariam and Christina Karoram, both linked to Universal, pulling even more major industry figures into the controversy. Court documents allege that everyone named witnessed what was happening firsthand, and yet nobody intervened. In the world of major record labels, power and profit often go hand in hand, allowing executives to dictate which scandals get buried and which are spun to protect billion-dollar brands. This calculated level of control sheds light on why outlets like CNN and Fox News may have largely stayed silent. When the people involved wield the power to shape headlines, some stories simply never reach the public. The influence runs far deeper than most realize. It's not just about music, but about image, empire building, and safeguarding the status quo. Within Diddy's inner circle, one name continues to emerge: Jay-Z. Their relationship transcended mere business. It was a bond forged through shared power and industry dominance. If you want, I can also condense this into a punchy, attention-grabbing version perfect for social media or video scripts. Do you want me to do that?
Only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person that
outside of family.
Outside of my mother.
Okay,
They should be calling me Sean.
Aggie Wright has never been known to hold back. If you're unfamiliar with her, she's built a reputation on saying exactly what others are afraid to, even when it costs her. That's why her interview with Piers Morgan sent shockwaves through the industry. During that sit-down, she made explosive claims about both Jay-Z and Diddy. And then something strange happened. The episode all but disappeared. Shortly after airing, it was scrubbed from the internet, becoming nearly impossible to track down. And whenever something vanishes that fast, people start asking why. Because if there's truly nothing to hide, why rush to erase it? In that interview, Wright raised a question many insiders have quietly asked for years. How does Jay-Z manage to appear in high-profile interviews, like his sit-down with Gayle King, without ever being pressed on the most controversial rumors surrounding him or his relationships with powerful figures? Wright didn't soften her words. She labeled both Diddy and Jay-Z as predators, accusing them of exerting a suffocating grip on the music industry for decades. That statement alone ignited social media. Then came another eyebrow-raising development. Observers noticed that Jay-Z's own elite attorney had suddenly become involved in Diddy's legal turmoil. Almost immediately, fans and insiders began connecting dots. Coincidence? Or a sign of something larger moving quietly behind closed doors? In this industry, overlaps like that are rarely accidental. Jay-Z, for his part, has never publicly responded to any of these allegations or rumors. And in an era where public figures address everything, silence often sends a message louder than words. Joe Rogan has spoken before about this exact pattern, pointing out that powerful people rarely confront scandals head-on. Instead, they deploy fixers, top-tier lawyers, and PR machines to make problems disappear before they ever reach the public. When you line everything up, the missing interview, the shared legal representation, the silence, the picture becomes far more complex than it first appears. And that brings us to a name most people don't recognize, Alan Grubman. That's by design. He's one of the most influential attorneys in entertainment history, quietly representing artists and power brokers ranging from Diddy to Bruce Springsteen. Grubman isn't just legal counsel. He's a gatekeeper, a connective thread linking music, media, and political power. Behind the scenes, he and others like him are what insiders refer to as a silent circle. These are the people who operate invisibly while controlling everything that matters. They draft ironclad NDAs that silence victims for decades. They don't just defend individuals. They safeguard an entire system. In that world, information is currency. Those who control it sit at the very top. And if they decide your story won't be told, it simply disappears, no matter how real or damaging it may be. Rogan has compared this level of secrecy to conversations he's had with former CIA officer Mike Baker. Together, they've discussed how the structure of Diddy's alleged private gatherings mirrors patterns seen in cases like Jeffrey Epstein's, not identical in detail, but disturbingly similar in design. The idea isn't that Diddy created this machine alone. It's that he may have served as a facilitator, someone who hosted, entertained, and possibly documented powerful figures within a much larger operation. That's the part that truly unsettles people. If federal filings are accurate and recordings were made at these events, then the real question isn't just what was filmed, but who those recordings were meant for, and why. Some investigators believe the answer points upward, toward unnamed individuals referenced in legal documents, politicians, CEOs, and elite figures who allegedly treated Diddy's world as their private playground. If that's true, then Diddy may not be the end of the story, but just the most visible piece of it.
Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should say, I think he voted for Biden.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, call it the top 100 puppet masters on the Epstein client list.
Do you think there's some overlap?
Strong overlap. Strong overlap.
When are we going to see that list, do you think?
I don't know.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes. And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes.
Some reports suggest the existence of an enormous archive, possibly thousands of hours of recorded material, not only tied to Diddy's notorious gatherings, but potentially linked to Jeffrey Epstein's alleged collection as well. If even part of that is accurate, it points to something far bigger than isolated scandals. It hints at a long-running system of leverage, a blackmail network that may have operated across industries and generations. At that point, this stops being celebrity drama and starts looking like a mechanism built to control powerful people. The kind of structure designed to keep politicians, executives, and public figures compliant through fear rather than loyalty. During one episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Elon Musk appeared to allude to this very idea. He suggested that massive financial support for certain political figures might not come from shared values at all, but from anxiety. According to Musk, many elites may be terrified of what could happen if the wrong people take control and sensitive information starts leaking. He referenced the Epstein client list and what some are now quietly calling a Diddy party list. That implication alone sent online communities into a frenzy. Well-known names like Reid Hoffman and Bill Gates were suddenly pulled into the discussion as examples of figures who might have a lot to lose if alleged recordings or guest lists ever became public. When Rogan pressed Musk directly, asking whether Hoffman seemed worried, Musk's reply was brief and unsettling. Just one word: yes. That single response landed harder than any long explanation, leaving listeners with a sense that there may be far more happening beneath the surface than anyone is willing to say out loud.
Might have been the difference between Diddy parties and freak-offs. Oh, my God.
They're giving him shit, too, because he's sitting in his
the guy from Chappelle Show?
Yeah.
And then Dave's there, too, and then Russell Simmons, too. Oh, boy. But is that at a party, or is that just a group of them together?
They were, like, on a yacht or something like that.
Okay, but that's not the Diddy party.
No, yeah, it's not like they were, like, kind of...
I think...
You think Diddy was rogue, or Diddy was like a Epstein type?
That's a good
working for
question.
somebody.
That's a good question. Well, it would be a
'Cause he had the
great way
juice
to,
on a lot of people.
compromise celebrities. Yeah.
Yep.
And get them to say whatever you want them to do, get them to do whatever projects you'd like them to do. And, you know, if you're a bunch of other celebrities are there, you're like, oh, look, Bill Clinton's here. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is cool. Look at this. Like, Brad Pitt's here. Oh, this is cool. You don't even think there's anything wrong with being there.
What investigators and commentators are now describing is something called a facilitator model, and it's one of the most unsettling patterns to emerge from all of this. The idea is that figures like Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs didn't just throw extravagant parties. They allegedly created protected environments for the elite, places where powerful people felt untouchable, free from scrutiny. But according to these claims, those gatherings weren't about luxury or excess alone. They were setups, hidden cameras, secret recordings, total control. Joe Rogan explained it in a way that stopped people cold. He said if this wasn't the work of some intelligence-style operation, then it would take a uniquely dangerous mind, someone who figured out how to compromise everyone at once. Guests were told their phones weren't allowed. They were reassured that what happened inside those walls would never leave. Meanwhile, according to allegations, cameras were rolling the entire time, every moment documented. That's not privacy, that's leverage. Rogan then asked a question that changes the entire narrative. Was Diddy acting on his own, or was he answering to someone higher up? Because if he wasn't the architect, then who was? And that's where the story becomes even darker. During the same discussion, Elon Musk brought up Jennifer Lopez, not politically, but in terms of credibility and proximity. His point was blunt. If someone as close to Diddy as J. Lo, who dated him and moved in the same circles, was around these environments, how did no alarms ever get raised? Why were there no public warnings, no distancing, no concerned voice at the time? Musk's implication was uncomfortable. There was silence, total silence. And that silence may be the most disturbing part of all, because it suggests that people either didn't want to see what was happening or were too afraid to say anything. If someone that close never spoke up, there are only two possibilities. Either they truly had no idea, which many find hard to believe, or they knew enough to stay quiet. And if they stayed quiet, was it fear, loyalty, self-preservation, or protection of someone even more powerful? Those questions have only intensified since reports surfaced about federal raids on Diddy's properties. According to multiple sources, investigators didn't seize a handful of recordings. They reportedly took thousands of hours of footage. That kind of archive doesn't exist by accident. Commentators like Jaguar Wright and former bodyguard Gene Deal have both suggested this footage wasn't just for blackmail. It was insurance, a silent enforcement system. No threats required. Once someone is on camera, they're controlled. Now, industry whispers suggest those recordings may be quietly changing hands, and that possibility has sent waves of panic through Hollywood, politics, and beyond. Some of the biggest names in entertainment are reportedly terrified about what might be captured on those tapes, and more importantly, who might possess them now. Megyn Kelly raised another chilling point. She noted that Diddy hasn't even been criminally charged over the widely circulated hotel hallway video involving Cassie Ventura. If something that public and graphic hasn't led to immediate prosecution, what else is being shielded behind the scenes? What's worse than what the public has already seen? That leads to the questions no one wants to answer. Who controls those recordings right now? What's actually on them? And what would happen if even a fraction of that footage were released? Because if those tapes exist, they don't just threaten reputations. They could shake the entire entertainment industry to its core. And maybe the most unsettling part isn't what's already been exposed. It's what's still hidden. When phones are banned, stories disappear, and secrets quietly move between powerful hands, you have to ask, who's really in charge? Who decides what the world gets to see, and what stays buried forever? One moment that stunned viewers came from 50 Cent's Netflix documentary The Reckoning. In a brief but noticeable scene, Bishop T.D. Jakes' image flashes on screen as narration references Diddy's controversial parties. Viewers immediately caught it, believing it wasn't accidental but a coded signal. When Bishop Jakes was later asked about rumors surrounding these circles, his response only fueled speculation. Instead of a firm denial, he reportedly said, "Keep it moving." then added that even if something like that were true, repentance covers all sin, and that he personally didn't need to repent. For many, that didn't sound like confidence. It sounded like deflection. Jaguar Wright quickly weighed in, saying that if a religious leader truly had proximity to Diddy's inner social world, there were only two reasons: money or access. She described those gatherings as leverage zones, places where influence wasn't just exchanged, but harvested, power that never had to be spoken aloud, because silence did all the work. Gene Deal echoed similar concerns, asking why a respected spiritual figure will be anywhere near events insiders described as deeply disturbing. He also hinted, again, at recordings that may still exist. And if those ever surface, he said, the conversation will no longer be about rumors. It will be about proof. Some investigators have begun mapping these connections like a pyramid. At the base sit major stars, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, immensely powerful, but according to some analysts, still answering to forces above them. The middle layer consists of the true gatekeepers, executives, media figures, and industry power brokers who allegedly decide who rises, who falls, and who stays silent. And at the very top, researchers claim, sits a hidden figure, or figures, connecting entertainment, politics, technology, and even religious institutions. If that structure is real, it explains why Dave Chappelle warned about this years ago. He didn't describe Hollywood as tough. He described it as a trap. When people asked why he didn't simply take his show elsewhere, his answer stunned them. He said leaving would have been like running from one plantation to another. Different owners, same chains. If someone as wealthy and influential as Chappelle felt boxed in, what does that mean for everyone else? Now, all of this is colliding in real time. Since late 2025, investigations tied to Diddy, Universal Music Group, and multiple high-profile executives have expanded. Federal prosecutors are reportedly examining offshore financial links once believed to be untouchable. Diddy continues to face numerous civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault and trafficking, filed in both New York and California. Authorities are also reviewing whether his businesses, including Bad Boy Entertainment and De Leon Tequila, were connected to money laundering schemes. None of it has been proven, but the paper trail is drawing serious attention. Universal Music Group has also come under renewed scrutiny following executive departures and questions about past contracts. Solution Grange has publicly denied any involvement in Diddy's alleged crimes, but silence from others has only deepened suspicion. Jay-Z, meanwhile, faces increasing public pressure after commentators demanded he address his long association with Diddy. While he hasn't been accused of wrongdoing, online scrutiny around power, politics, and influence continues to grow. Joe Rogan has returned to the topic as well, warning that what stayed hidden for decades is now leaking into the open, and not everyone is ready for what comes next. By early 2026, multiple agencies, including the DOJ and Homeland Security, have reportedly expanded probes into alleged trafficking networks tied to entertainment. Court filings confirm new warrants, seized digital evidence, and cooperation from former associates. Major outlets have verified that encrypted hard drives and security footage were recovered during federal raids. What's on them hasn't been disclosed, but the scale of the investigation speaks volumes. Survivor advocates say this could mark a turning point, not just for individuals, but for entire systems that relied on silence, power, and fear. What began as whispers around Diddy has grown into one of the largest reckonings the entertainment world has ever faced. This isn't just about one man anymore. It's about a system cracking under its own weight and the truth forcing its way out. The era where silence guaranteed protection may finally be ending. Now, the only question left is this: do you think real accountability is finally coming, or will this be buried like so many stories before it? Let us know what you think, because this conversation is far from over.